Thank you for staying with us. That which I spoke of before we went on that break is coming after this one. This time around, let's have some fun. Why are you laughing? Anyway, you saw in that slide, we're talking about the 6th Nigeria International Film and TV Festival. What does all that mean? We want to have a conversation with Ijoma Ona, who is founder Nigerian International Film and TV Summit. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
We're making a lot of money from film and TV, right?
Absolutely.
Can we borrow Nigeria some?
Oh my God, interesting. Yeah.
First of all, maybe we'll talk about, the whole, festival summit thing, but what are the things that you think maybe people don't even understand about it? Because we hear film industry is growing very, very rapidly, almost, if not the fastest growing in the world and all of that. There must be a lot of work that has gone into that.
Absolutely. Okay, so like you rightly asked, there's a lot, right, that happens, especially behind the scenes, that people don't know about. And that is one of the things that we actually try to highlight with the summit. Now, when you come to the business of film, right, there are like four basic elements of film business. And there's always been a lot of focus on production. So when you tell somebody that you are in film, the first thing they ask you is, what movie have you made, right?
Naturally.
Naturally.
Yeah. You have to have proof.
Exactly. Well.
Well, to them.
So, yes, exactly. However, there are other aspects of the ecosystem that people are not aware of. There is film finance, okay, which means people who are in that space, all they do is to raise money for film. That's their job.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's also film distribution. These are the guys who are going from one market to another market,
So distribution and marketing are together?
Well, they complement each other, but they're
Okay.
actually different.
Okay.
So distribution is when you talk about licensing, the rights, everything you see on television, right? Every program that you see foreign, with different genres, movies, Hollywood, Bollywood, there is a process that happens from the point where, the acquisitions manager sees it and say, oh, I want this program for my channel. There's a lot that happens that people are not aware of. There is a lot in terms of, there is a legal process, there is negotiation, there are commercial terms that must be agreed on. When you talk about commercial terms, you talk about the licensing period, how long is it going to be on this channel? There is also the territory, is it Nigeria, is it Africa, is it global rights? Then of course there's also the exclusivity and non-exclusivity rights, okay? And then what platform? Is it free to air, right? Is it pay TV? Is it VOD? Is it SVOD?
What's VOD?
What video on demand?
Yes, VOD is video on demand, yes.
Don't be using jargon, please.
So there is subscription video on demand rights, there is advertising video on demand rights, there is transactional video on demand rights.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Oh, yes. Trust me, it is.
I recall...
Sorry. You said there are 4 of them. You've mentioned 3.
Yeah, I've mentioned distribution, finance, production, of course.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Marketing.
Okay. Who are the people that take them to the cinemas?
So cinemas are distributors. So
Okay.
you have distribution companies who are in the theatrical space. Then also on television, on the TV side, you also, I mean, this is where I have done most of my career on the TV side for distribution. I'm not a producer, but I've worked a lot with producers to help them make money. Yeah.
I remember in those days, late 80s and early 90s, in the days of movies like Domitilla, where we heard that it was the marketers who smiled all the way to the bank, but the actors didn't get anything, well, didn't get much out of it. The directors, the producers. I mean, first of all, is that true? And 2, is that still the case now?
Oh no, we've moved away from that a long time ago. So, in those days of VCD, is it? Yeah, CDs and video,
Video
VCD,
CDs.
yes. So what happened was that the marketers essentially were the ones who invested. They are like the financiers.
Okay.
So there was always, within this ecosystem, right? You can see somebody who decides to wear all the hats. So he finances the movie, he produces the movie, he's executive producer, and then of course he also goes to do the marketing and, you know. So essentially the actors, the talents are more like paid to deliver, and that's it. That hasn't so much changed. It's just that there's been a lot of refining, okay, of the process for that, where you now have distribution companies. Okay, we have structured companies who are distributors, and all they do is when a producer goes on location, they finish their production, they come to the distribution company. So some producers decide to self-distribute. So what it means is they are the ones who are going to different channels to say, buy my movie, or they are the ones traveling to different markets to pitch their movies to international, you know, buyers and distributors as well. But there are very few people who can do that because it's capital intensive.
So this is film 101 that you've given us this
Yeah,
morning.
absolutely.
Now tell us about this International Film Summit.
Okay.
Is this a summit or festival?
It's a summit.
It's a summit.
Yeah,
okay.
we are all very, very business centric. It's all, because, you know, I think this been,
Why wouldn't you be? It's show business, isn't
yeah.
it?
Well. So the showbiz side is, you know, what you see on the outside. You see people, you know, on the red carpet and all that. No, that's actually not what this is about.
Oh,
yes.
really?
Yes, that's what you see. Like in the festival, there's a lot of parties. There are people who are doing all sorts of things. It's fun. But this is much more very, very serious. Yes, because we are talking about investments, we're talking about return on investments, we're talking about what are the different windows that needs to be exploited, you know, what is the pathway when you get a film, how do you treat your film as a product? Okay, you know, there's a whole ecosystem that is involved. And so when we started 6 years ago in the US at the American Film Market, which is like the film headquarters. This is where every year distributors, independents come together, either to look for financiers, to look for distribution companies. So a hotel of about 200 rooms is shut down. They move all their offices to that place for 1 to 10 days, and it's all business, you know, buying and selling of rights for movies. So, and that's where we started 6 years ago in Los Angeles. And after that, I said, listen, we also have to develop our own industry. Charity must begin from home, right? And that is why we came back. I came back in Nigeria, and in 2018 we started the Lagos edition. And essentially what we try to do is to help people to understand, to build capacity for the industry, because it's not about carrying cameras. I see producers who, you know, I ask them, why do you want to produce a movie? For some, it's just to have their name at the end credits. So you get money from somebody, from an investor, and then you can't even figure out how you're going to make the money back. We need to build sustainable businesses. And if we're going to build sustainable businesses, it's very important that the key players in this industry are equipped with the right knowledge. Right? It's very important that people know that there is a journey. It's not just enough to get money, get somebody to give you money, get your father, your mother, your uncle to give you money. You take their money, and then at the end of the day, when you make the bogus promises to them to say, oh, this movie is going to gross XYZ amount, 100 million, 200 million, and you have no plan. You have no plan. There is no strategy around how you're going to get from point A to point B. So it's
how that 100 million is going to come in, essentially.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this festival, essentially,
Summit.
Summit, is to talk about the 4 items that you spoke about.
Absolutely.
All that is available, all the avenues through which one can invest and make money in the film and television business.
Absolutely.
That's what this summit is all about.
Yes, that's what it is. We look at packaging. How do you package your movie? If you're going, for example, we're going to have a session, a pitch session, where producers will have opportunity to pitch to streaming companies their projects. So do you understand how you can convince somebody to put money into your project? That is very important, right? Because at the end of the day, we're trying to drive investments into the industry.
Okay.
Right.
Now, there are those who have said that all of the issues you talked about, all of the problems of the industry, is because the industry doesn't have structures. It's not set up as a business per se.
Absolutely.
So is there any way in which the summit addresses that?
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. So, you know, the issue of structure is very critical, right? And, you know, when you talk about structure, it's you understanding that, listen, you're a producer. Stay in your production. When you are done with your finished product, if from your point of pre-production, you get a distributor who will give you the commercial elements that need to get into that movie so it can be commercially viable. So that is production and distribution, how they interface. So you don't have, you know, I see producers say, oh, this story is beautiful. Oh, who are you making it for? Who is your audience, right? So you need to understand all that. Sit down with a distributor, have a distributor give you input to say this genre is not going to work, that genre is going to work, okay? And let's move away from passion, because there's a lot of things that people do based on passion that doesn't translate to money. At the end of the day,
they could be doing it just for the passion, my dear, not for the money.
Well,
you know, but talking about structure and all of that,
yes.
You know, in all of it, people talk about industry. So when we talk about the film industry in Nigeria, one is trying to compare with other established, the Hollywoods and the rest of them, where they rate movies. You've talked about categorization of the movies now, but then there is the issue of ratings. It would seem like we don't seem to have that, because almost all our movies are dramas that have a little bit of action, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. The only horror film I remember in Nigeria was Jimmy Odumosu's Evil Encounter, that I remember.
Okay.
Well, maybe there have been others. I think Living in Bondage was also supposed to be a horror movie, but with the little spices of comedy here and there, I'm not sure. So in terms of rating movies into A movies, B movies, and the rest of them, is this summit also in any way addressing that?
Okay, so now that you're really delving into,
I'm sorry,
the nitty-gritty.
we are curious to find out, because people always benchmark the Nigerian industry or Nigerian films with foreign films, and there is no walls anymore.
So now let's make a separation, okay? When you're talking about movies, you're talking about content generally. Remember that there is television and there is also cinema. I mean, they complement each other, but in real sense, in the real business, they're actually a bit different. So when you talk about ratings, for example, for movies, okay, before you release your movie in the cinema, right? So normally there are windows that must be respected. So when you make a feature film, traditional distribution entails that you go to the cinema first, and then you exploit that theoretical window. So before you get into the cinema, of course, there is the censorship that must happen. You must go to the National Film and Video Censors Board. They are the ones that will watch you film the movie and then, of course, do the ratings that you talk about to say, so all that is actually very much in place. And the National Film and Video Censors, they've been doing fantastic in that regard to make sure that the right content goes into the cinemas, right? And then also for the right audiences that should watch those movies. So on the cinema side, definitely that is, very much taken care of. Then when you move to television also, because television, the genres are not the same. You can't go to a cinema and watch a reality show, for example. It's not possible, right? You can't go to a cinema and watch a cooking show, right? So you can see that at that point, the people who are playing in the TV space, they become a very clear separation. The producer who is making movie for cinema and the producer who is making content for television, they are not in the same business. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So we'll make that separation to ensure that they all come out to answer their producers, but their business models are not the same. So for television, you either license, you get licensing fees for certain period of time, or you monetize. Like in Nigeria, it's usually monetization via advertising. You see a lot of independent producers, they produce, they buy airtime, they put in there, and then they go look for advertising. Yeah.
So, well, ultimately, you are bringing them all together under this summit, even though they use the same equipment, right?
Of course.
Just saying. So bringing them all to the same table, and what are some of the major highlights of this summit?
Okay, thank you so much. So first of all, every year we have a particular country that we try that is very interested in Nigeria, and we have a country of honor focus. So we've done that previously. We've had Cote d'Ivoire, we've had Kenya, and then this year we're having the United Kingdom as our country of honor. So what that means is we are partnering with the British Film Institute. They are sending a delegation of film professionals from the United Kingdom to come and explore opportunities with Nigeria. We need to start making cross-cultural stories. We need to make local stories, original stories that can have global appeal, right? And you know that Nigeria, of course, and the United Kingdom have a history. And there's a huge diaspora, right? We need to make that connection between the local industry. A lot of them, the producers in the UK, the Nigerian producers, they're trying to find their way into our industry, but it hasn't been so easy. So we're hoping that this summit will give them the opportunity to connect, to make that connection, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that you are going to get them to shoot a James Bond movie in Nigeria. Don't answer that one yet.
But Ijoma, only last week I heard about some collaboration between Nollywood and Bollywood.
Absolutely.
And some Nigerian actors who have got roles in some Bollywood movies. So is that what you're talking about this cross-culture?
Absolutely. So actually, this project you're talking about, we're going to have a dedicated session that is going to be chaired by the Indian High Commissioner in Nigeria. So it's a big thing. It's a big thing we're trying to do. You know, working with the producer to say, listen, we can actually begin to cross over, you know, to cross over to other territories. So we've got 1 hour, and at
and
the
them
end,
cross over to us as well.
No, definitely, definitely. You know, so we have it at the Bollywood, Nollywood crossover. We have a session on this project to talk about the opportunities that this has, the potentials that this has. Of course, the producer have done something before, Namse Wahala, which was also very successful. And now they're trying to take a cast of about 5 top Nigerian actors to India. And so we're working with her on that to spotlight what she's doing, and then also have the High Commissioner, in the Indian High Commissioner, being part of this. That's one of the highlights of the program. And at the end, we're going to have some networking events just to help people to meet each other and connect with each other.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
what's it? Okay, go ahead.
So when is this summit? Where is it? And who is going to attend the summit?
Okay, so the summit is starting from the 29th of August, 30th, 31st, and the 1st of September. So 29th, we have an opening at the Radisson. We're using the Radisson Blue and the Radisson Hotel sitting next to each other at the Ikeja GRA.
Okay.
So we have a full day on the 30th we're dedicated to film business, because we need to make that separation between film and television. It's not the same, right? So there's a day for film, cinema releases and all that. And then the second day we look at television. Right? We look at television business, we look at what is that. So our theme this year is Streaming Wars. What is the implication for content monetization of both film and television? There's disruption happening. And television needs to, you know, we need to come up with the reality of what is happening.
Okay,
Yeah.
we know that TV is free, you pay to watch films, but is the summit free?
Well, no. Yes and no. So we've got industry access badge that gives you access to just the conference sessions. And then we have the executive gold badge, which will give you access to some invite-only sessions. Yeah.
So it's not paid per se?
No, it's paid. So
Okay.
the one that gives you access to exclusive events, invite-only events, networking, receptions, and closed-door events, you have to pay for it. But if you just want to come and sit down and listen to the conversation, but it's subject to eligibility, actually. So we still have to look at your profile, what you've done, if we're going to give you that free access.
So that's your website, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
For those who may not be close enough or may not be able to see the small types, what's the website?
So NIF Summit, nifsummit.com, www.nifsummit.com.
Okay,
And
I see war in that.
Oh, yes.
Front of the war, but I also see monetization.
Yes.
It's the kind of war that I want to go to. You know.
Yes, absolutely.
So brief highlights of the event again. Starts on the 29th.
Yes, and then 30th for film, 31st for television, and then on the 1st we're doing screenings.
Okay.
Yes, we do what we call buyer screenings. So, giving producers opportunities to come screen, and then, broadcasters, streaming companies can actually come sit down, watch. I mean, we're not inventing anything here. This is what you see in those clients that you think are structured. So we need to also build our industry.
So there is for directors, producers?
No, it's basically for producers, because this is all business. The producer is the one who runs the business.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
writers as well.
Okay.
Yes, distributors, cinema owners. So we work very closely with, all the major cinemas in Nigeria. They are always supporting what we are doing. I actually want to say thank you to all the guys who are supporting us, because this is a platform that allows them to address issues in their businesses.
TV stations?
TV stations, of course.
Who come shopping for programs?
Yes, yes.
Essentially the people who we don't see in the films and the TV shows.
Yeah.
Ijoma Ona, founder, Nigerian International Film and TV Summit. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure.
All right, so we're going to that conversation that I talked about the other time. Alera is laughing again. Oh dear. When we return from this break.
I'm keeping